Hello, today's Bible study comes from 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 4, 5, and 6. And it reads as follows. In fact, when we were with you, we kept telling you that we would be persecuted. And it turned out that way, as you well know. For this reason, when I could stand it no longer, I sent to find out about your faith. I was afraid that in some way the tempter had tempted you and that our labors might have been in vain. Wow. And this is the NIV. I'm always reading from the NIV. If you look at it, Paul is continuing a statement about suffering. And he says, in fact, even when we were there, when we were with you, we kept telling you that we would be persecuted. Persecuted is suffering. And he says, that's what I told you is going to happen. And guess what? It turned out that way, as you well know. Paul is letting them know this wasn't, we told you before when we were with you. Because Paul had warned them that they was going to go through some trials and tribulations. This was not supposed to be new to them or unknown to them. They knew they were going to go through something. And Paul was with them a little while, and he taught them about this, okay? And he told them about this. And he says, we would suffer tribulation. Well, you know what? As we spoke on yesterday, we're going to go through it. And that is what tests your faith. There is some fruits from suffering, and we have to understand that. And we don't like suffering. I'm going to tell you right now, suffering is not our thing. We don't like it. We don't know why we gotta go through it. But if you understand suffering, then you know that there is some gain from suffering. And honestly, we need the gain. We have to have the gain. Even if you don't think you need it. Suffering builds up. It builds up endurance. It shows us how to persevere. It builds character. It helps you help someone else when they're going through their own suffering. That's what suffering does for us. And it tests our faith. Will you turn to God? So, when you look at this, suffering, Paul says, hey, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. But are you going to make it through it? Can you make it through it? And the answer is yes, if you go to God. Don't go to you. Don't go to me. Please don't go to me. Go to God. He'll help you through it. Yeah, you're going to have some. Man, I have problems every day. But you know what? I got the answer every day. And when I feel a little down, because I ain't gave it to him, sooner or later my spirit says, why ain't you gave it to him? Give it to God. You're going to go through something, but you don't have to worry if you stay strong in your faith. And this is a time when your faith will be tested. If everything is going well, your faith ain't never tested. It's when things aren't going well that your faith gets tested. So for this reason, when I could no longer endure it, I sent to know your faith, lest by some means the tempter had tempted you, and our labor might be in vain. So Paul could barely handle the thought that their faith might disperse or go away or fall to pieces because of the suffering, the afflictions, the trials that they were going through. Because we do get weak sometimes. We do fall. But can you handle this? Can you make it through this storm? Because if you even look when Jesus was walking and he told the man about let the dead bury the dead, come with me. What he was really telling them is the most important thing in your life is to come to me. And when you are struggling, when trials and tribulations are hitting you, just like the most important thing, go to Jesus every time. Don't be afraid to. So he's telling them, and I don't want them to fall apart. I don't want their faith to be deterred. So he says it was hard. He didn't think they could even endure it. And he says, lest by some means the tempter had tempted you. So Paul knows about the tempter because he spoke of him in the last chapter. But remember, if you want to see the tempter come around, be going through something. He gonna add a little Cool Whip to it, put a little cherry on the top of it. He gonna make it so good in your suffering that you gonna say, man, this is too much to bear. But remember that Cool Whip, that little cherry that he got, it ain't good for you. It ain't got no flavor. It ain't sweet, and it can't help you. He is there to destroy you. And what is a better time to attack a disciple of God is when they're going through something. And here he comes. And Paul knows about him coming. So Paul tells them, Satan wanted to get at these people. And remember, Satan's whole purpose all the time, anytime, from Adam to right now with the Thessalonians and beyond to us, is to get us to not have a relationship with the Lord, to get us to turn from God. That's his job. He is the deceiver. So Paul knew that. And he knew that Satan would come to attack. And on our labor might be in vain. And Paul is saying, man, if we did all this work, if we did this work in the name of the Lord and their faith dispersed, then what we did to them has been in vain. So, as he sends Timothy, because he doesn't want it to be in vain, he doesn't want Satan to get the upper hand, Timothy brings an encouraging word. And it says, but now that Timothy has come to us from you. Here we go. Verse 6, he tells you. Verse 6. But Timothy has just now come to us from you, Paul, and has brought good news. He's brought good news. Good news is gospel. About your faith and love. Faith and love. He's brought good news about your faith and love. That's what the gospel's about. He has told us that you always have pleasant memories of us and that you long to see us just as we also long to see you. So, when he says faith and love, he really just tells them, this is the gospel. This is what it's about. This is about godliness here. Staying true. And the good news, as I said, he came and he preached the gospel to them. He told them. And he lets them know that we, Paul and my team, Timothy and my team, they never thought anything less of them, and that They should not believe the rumors that were going on about Paul. They just wanted them to be strong in their situation, be strong in their suffering, turn to God, keep their faith up, because they knew and know this is a time that he will creep in and try to do something to destroy you. Amen.